Hello, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We are here for the late night talk show just after the penultimate race of the season in Austria. And alongside me for this talk show tonight is our Podium Tier driver and Pinnacle Tier commentator, Alex. Welcome to the talk show.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here.
And obviously, you weren't there on Friday night for usual comms duty, but you missed a very entertaining race in the Pinnacle one with changing weather conditions yet again. So that caused a bit of chaos, but we'll dive into that later on. But first, let's talk a little bit about yourself, Alex. When are you planning on breaking this DNF streak? Surely it's got to be next week.
Yeah. I want to end on a high. It started off frustration, then it kind of became a joke, and now it's getting on a bit too long. So I need to make sure that I finish the race at least. It doesn't matter where I finish. I just want to finish the race in style.
Maybe just press pause and just let the computer do the
Yeah,
do
the
the
computer.
race.
Yeah, yeah. It probably get a better drive than me. So yeah, it's possible. But no, I think Britain as well, home race, last race of the season before going on to a new game, will be a good place to end it and a good way to end this year's cycle of the game.
It definitely will. So yeah, one race to go next week in Britain. Finishes us off on season 13 and on F1 2018. So obviously the new game F1 2019 being released next week. Presume you've all pre-ordered it or are looking forward to getting it at some point next week. I've got the day off work, so I will definitely be racing around in it and seeing what it's like. But the show must go on for the moment, Alex, and Austria. Always an entertaining track, changing weather conditions, and all races on Friday proved to be pretty entertaining, with a couple of them ending up crowning champions.
Yeah, it was a strong Friday night for the drivers. I think every driver almost gave it their all. There was a few mishaps on the way for certain drivers, but that's going to happen with the interchanging conditions. I think if not all of them, I think three of them had interchanging conditions. So it was an insane weekend. It was been fun to commentate, but as I said, I gave it over to Sean for Friday, and hopefully he had fun with Jamie in the box. But it was a shame not to be there.
Alrighty, let's talk about Red Bull, Alex, because they are now the official Season 13 Constructors Champions, and of course, made up of the 8 drivers all across the 4 tiers, so big well done to all of those. You've got Jamie and Gaza from the Podium Tier, then you've got Scorpion and White Fountain from the Precision Tier, Malloy and Scott Fielder from the Pinnacle Tier, and then from the top tier, obviously, you have Blizzard and Odems. And Blizzard going on to do the double and take his Prestige Tier Drivers' Championship on Friday as well. We'll come to that in a minute. Obviously, all Constructors winners will be getting trophies sent to them, Alex, and yeah, sure they'll be looking forward to that, and they'll be very proud of as a complete team across all 4 of the tiers getting the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to give them credit where credit's due. Red Bull, they I don't think you can disagree that they've got solid drivers in every tier. Each driver is at least going to score points on paper. So I don't. They definitely got the right drivers. Not saying that it was a fix and Red Bull were going to win, but they certainly on paper looked to be, if not the strongest team, one of the strongest teams, and they proved that throughout the races.
Yeah, they definitely did. They obviously had a lot of drivers who were able to, score points early on as well in the championship, but they never really looked like they were going to be challenged by anyone at any point. They led from the very start and never looked back. So, yeah, it's a big well done to them. And obviously, after the season ends, I'll be in contact with them all to get their address so I can get their championship trophy ready to send off to them, which obviously, Alex, is something definitely to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my trophy bookshelf. Once we were known as a different name, so it'd be nice to get one that says One Hum on it as well, just to keep it updated. So hopefully in next season or something, I can perhaps get some form of trophy with the title One Hum on it. That's the dream, and but these trophies they do give you a sense of fulfillment and that you've worked for something. So well done to those guys.
Alrighty, let's head over to the podium tier. Entertaining race. Riley joined the league new for the final 2 rounds, and Josh was made to wait for this championship.
Yeah, I mean, it
We
was an
thought he was
interesting
gonna
one.
win it, then we wasn't. Then obviously penalties came into play, but Ian finished in third, which stops him winning the championships. But you have to say, Alex, he's definitely going to have a nervous final race next week.
Absolutely, although on paper he looks the favourite now by points and the stuff. The nerves were jangling, especially in Britain. But yeah, he's done so well, hasn't he? He's come into this tier and he's not looked back, as we said about the Red Bulls as well. He's come in, he's been strong. There's not really been too many mishaps. He's been quick. The confidence has been keeping up, but also hopefully now he won't be overthinking it because he can easily. No offense to any of the drivers, but it's his to lose now.
Yeah, it definitely is. One thing that's been interesting with Josh is obviously he missed the first race, and then there has been a couple of races like in Germany where he just didn't have the outright pace, and then there's other tracks where he just seems to completely dominate. So it's a bit strange, but nevertheless he'll be happy when it's all over next week. His car he'll be treating it like it's made of glass, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think the whole track thing is the nature of the game, unfortunately. Some tracks are suited to wheel or pad or someone's driving style as it is in real life. But I think that's what this has come to. But certainly, and I think if he's around, if he's with us for next season, I think we'll see him in some of the higher tiers as well. I think he'll be able to push on.
Definitely. So Josh went on to take pole position and the win. Was threatened early in the race by Riley and a little bit by Ian, but Riley's strategy didn't exactly work out. I think how he could have kind of made optimal, but yeah, it's obviously debut, second place. You think he'll be happy with that?
You can't be angry with it. I think he would have been kicking himself that he was in the battle for the lead for a brief time. But yeah, I don't know. I understood what he was doing. He was going longer to try and do the overcut, but he just left it too long, didn't he? And he was just losing so much time. And I think by that point it was clear cut that he wasn't going to get the win. But good attempt from him in second place is nothing to be disappointed about.
Definitely Ian back on the podium again, so keeping that championship alive. He'll be wondering whether he can pull a miracle off next Friday and take the championship, steal the championship from Josh. It'll be a big feat, but I'm sure he'll give it his all. D-Boy Dan had a bit of a quiet race, obviously moved up from 11th. That happened all in the early part of the race, and then just kind of enjoy the rest of it. But good result for him. He's up for Driver of the Day nomination over on Twitter. Papulu, after getting second place last week, Alex, is in the top 5 again. So good result for the Haas team.
Yeah, it's got to be solid, especially with the emergence of D-Boy Dan this season. Certainly, I think he'll stay in the Podium Tier next season if he's still with us. But I think he'll be a title contender. I think he'll be one of the people that gradually get better and better, and I can't wait to see what he does next season.
Jamie coming home in 6th position. Obviously won last week. I'll say if you haven't watched his highlight video from Germany, make sure you go give it a watch and you get to hear that famous scream. Yeah, scoring the only points for Red Bull as Gaza didn't finish again for the second race in a row. So after being an early title contender and having such a consistent season, Gaza's now had 2 DNFs in a row, and I bet he'll want to change that for the final race next week.
Yeah, definitely. I think the conditions were difficult. Jamie, again, as you said, I've been commentating with Jamie. He's a lovely bloke, and he deserves everything that comes his way. He's been pushing and pushing, and we just got to give him credit where it's due. But Galazar, I think, will come back and have one more strong appearance.
Aaron finished in 7th ahead of Parker. He was looking good for a good result early on, but I think there was contact later on in the race for him. But nevertheless, back in the points for Parker. And both Toro Rosso scoring. Nathan in 9th, his first points of the season from 13th on the grid. So shout out to him, Alex.
Yeah, it's my teammate as well. So, as the sort of veteran of the two of us, I feel like I've let the team down in podium. But no, good points for him, and congratulations. Austria's not the easiest track, so good job.
Liam completing the top 10 of the podium tier, so they'll all be heading to Britain next week. Obviously, Josh and Ian with the championship in mind, so best of luck to all those drivers. Final time on F1 2018. Now, let's move over to the precision tier. This is obviously, it came into this week with the biggest championship lead out of the two that Westy had over White Fountain, and they've left it with I believe, the smallest out of the three drivers' championships that are still up for grabs.
Yeah, it was such an interesting race, wasn't it? Because you didn't know which way it was going to go. Also, with the little ad of Jorit still being up for the championship as well. At that point in the race, you never knew what result was going to go. They were all over the place. Westy, he got a bit bogged down. I think he was in P6 at one point and was able to recover. But White Fountain had it under control for most of the race. He certainly had he was very calm, very collected, and he just needed to get the job done, and that's what he did. And now he's given himself a good chance of holding the goal.
Yeah, from second on the grid, obviously Jorit started on pole, way down in 14th. I don't think he classified. I think it was a DNF for him, if I'm not mistaken. But White Fountain, as you mentioned, did everything he had to do. His battle with Westy is in the steward's office. There's a few incidents in there that himself and Westy battled for most of the race, and Westy obviously felt that White Fountain's defending wasn't within the rules, and so that's being reported to the steward's office, which of course is open until midnight tonight, as per usual. So we won't talk too much about that, Alex. We'll let the stewards come to their decision on that one. But nevertheless, White Fountain got right back in this championship, and those two, I believe, they're going to be separated by 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe someone can, if obviously White Fountain doesn't get a penalty and still finishes in first, they'll be separated by 2 points. So that's going to be a nervous final race for those two boys.
It's essentially who beats who, isn't it, really? Unless they're down like 8th and 9th. But it's essentially who beats who, and that's going to make it more interesting for the viewers on stream as well, I think. I think they're going to be worried about each other more than the win, but who knows?
Yeah, they're saying it's 0 points if the results from Friday stay as they are. So, we enter the final race of the season how we started the first race of the season for those two in terms of the championship. But best of luck to both of them. Hope they both have a clean race, and obviously, Alex, I think the rest of the grid as well will be respectful and give them maybe a little bit more room, that considering they're both fighting for the championships, and damage to either car could really be heartbreaking.
Yeah, we just don't want someone to be silly, do we, and then ruin the race. I mean, not saying that any drivers would, but we don't want any driver to perhaps push too hard and then force on them off. It just ruins their race. We want the race between the two of them, and hopefully the drivers respect that and give the fans a good show.
This tier always so close. Another close qualifying session. On their day, the whole tier can definitely be separated by a second. It's so close all race long, and it's so hard whenever I watch this tier and Kieran and Luke do a great job. Obviously, Leon filled in this week for Kieran, but they do a great job of keeping track of everything, because it's just so hard to work out who's doing what stops, what position is the net leader in, and things like that. But Lukey came out of all the carnage to get second place, so a good result for him, ahead of TK, who's also on the podium. So second and third, two guys that definitely performed in Austria, it has to be said.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, especially for those drivers now. They just got to gear up for the next game. I know that's, games can change and the handling can be different, but if you can go into the next game with a lot of confidence, I don't see why Lukey or someone like that could go and win the championship. It's all about confidence and consistency for drivers. And I think that's what they need, and I think a good result of this will give them an added boost of confidence to go into next week and next season.
Alrighty, well, in fourth position was Matt, so well done to him, the Brazilian, finishing in fourth. So good result. He was battling with White Fountain and Westy in the race as well, so well done to him. Fifth place, Jaw, so both McLarens in the top five. We know they're friends in real life, Jaw and TK, so well done to both of them for a good result in Austria. Nick in sixth position, we know he's a fan favourite. Whenever he's racing, everyone's always cheering for him in the live chat. So sixth position for him. Chris, I believe there was contact with a couple cars. He's finished down in seventh position after leading much of the race. What have you made of his season, Alex? He's been involved in quite a few incidents, but shown brilliant pace, particularly last week. What do you make of his season and his comeback?
I think he's a great driver. I think he just needs to calm it down a bit when it comes to defending. I think he's so focused on keeping the position that he's actually hindering his races. I think if he's done very well, he's been smooth, but he just needs to make sure that he can possibly think about the future rather than now, because some of his defensive moves are a little bit, let's say, a little bit dangerous for the drivers. So I think if we just calm those down, I think he's more than capable of getting a few wins and podiums.
Toad scored his first points of the season after joining late on. Baboon J as well in the points from 16th on the grid. Well done to him. And Westy recovered to take the final point in 10th place. As you mentioned, those two separated by 0 points heading into the final race on the provisional results from Friday. So looking forward to see who comes out on top. And both drivers seemingly would deserve the championship, in my opinion, Alex.
Yeah, again, if you're there, you're there. You deserve it. And I think this is going to be the showdown of who has done the more practice, who's in the right mindset. That's what it's going to come down to. Hopefully, as long as the drivers don't get involved, there's no silly collisions, then it will just be a straight drag race between the two of them. Whether that's for the actual win at Silverstone is going to be another question, but I think it's going to be a great race between the two of them, and it's going to show their characters.
Alrighty, let's talk about the Pinnacle race. And as I mentioned, changing conditions again. Obviously, I was racing in this one, and it was so difficult, particularly at the end, to try and figure out what tyres to be on, whether it was the dry tyres or the inter tyres. And for the second week in a row, I just put on the wrong tyres when I came into the pits. I'm still getting used to getting all the configurations on the F1 rim, and 2 weeks in a row I messed it up. So I need to figure that one out, because I think I could have got a better result than what 10th position was. But battling all throughout the field, battling for the win, for the podiums, for the points. And it was so close as well. 19 drivers showing up for the penultimate race. So overall, Alex, a fantastic race.
Yeah, and again, I think it shows people's interest in this tier, and I think there's a lot of great racing. And I mean, we'll get onto it later, but CXY had a great showing. We have like the Dane Star, we have the Alfa Romeo, Start Bottom Raikkonen. There's a lot of great drivers in the tier, and it's good that they keep showing up and keep putting on a show every week.
So obviously you commentate on this every week. What are your thoughts on some of the drivers and obviously the races this season?
Oh, it's been so good, hasn't it? We've had some veterans like Mali come back, and we've had CXY and Dane Star really emerge as well. Dane Star's a bit of a struggling season, but he's had moments of brilliance. Yeah, then we've had the Alfa Romeos do fantastic as well. We've had Malloy get very unlucky. We've had Scope Fielder be the most consistent guy out there on the grid for me. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot of overtaking. There's great races. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely is. And CXY, you mentioned him in the emergence. He's obviously won the race. So well done to him, making 3 stops, as I mentioned, changing conditions, but from 5th on the grid. That's definitely a good result for him. Raikkonen and Dark Bolt, Sauber teammates, were fighting for the lead earlier on, coming close a few times to contact. But Dark Bolt went on to finish in 2nd place. So to cut the championship lead. So I don't know if anyone in the chat knows what the gap is in the Drivers' Championship after the results from Friday's race. But Mali finishing back on the podium, so his first podium with no assists. Alex, what do you think about that? Definitely well deserved from him, and getting stronger week on, week out.
It's a huge achievement, isn't it, to go with no assists? We know what Mali can do, and it's good that now he's using no assists. He's getting up to that level again. It's obviously just building a building, but he's done a fantastic job this season.
He definitely has. So Scott Fielder, obviously so consistent. I don't think he got any penalties again, did he? Let's wait for the stream to show. No, of course he didn't. So that's why he's almost in the position that he's in. He's so consistent. He doesn't get those penalties. And from 7th on the grid, came home to finish 4th. So well done to him. Owen all the way from 18th on the grid to finish in 5th. I think he got held up in qualifying as well, which is why made his race even more difficult. But I know he's running no traction. I had a good battle with him myself, and he's up for driver of the day. So definitely, if you think he deserves it, head over and give him a vote. Spag finished in 6th after there was an incident with Raikkonen, the Sauber. I don't know if you caught it, Alex, towards the end of the race. The Sauber choosing to stay on those dry tyres. Raikkonen, who went home and came home in 12th, started 2nd on the grid, and made contact with both Block and Spag on the final lap, or the penultimate lap, I believe it was. Don't know if you've seen any of that, but
briefly. it was again. It was just a tire situation, wasn't it? Really, it came down to. I don't think anyone could do it in that situation. I think it was just the conditions and the tires, really. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Obviously, you got to think about when he was heading into that corner with Glock. I think it was into turn 2, I believe. Massive contact, and Glock drove a brilliant race. Do you think in a situation like that, Raikkonen should have, taken more caution because he caused damage to Spag later on in the race? Broke down in the braking zone. Obviously, Spag just turned in. He clipped Spag, broke his wing. But do you think if you're on dry tyres, you're on the wrong tyre, it's the last lap of the race, obviously you don't want to lose positions, your mindset, we saw Vettel in real life in Canada, don't want to lose positions, but obviously you have to drive with caution in mind when you're on the wrong tyre.
Yeah, you read my mind there. He was on the wrong tyre. He should have had more caution for it, in my opinion. You can't try and battle people that are on the correct tyre. It's like if you're on 15 lap old softs and someone's come out on super softs or ultra softs that are brand new. No point holding them up. No point because you're ruining your own race. Just let them through and to keep your race on. But yeah, I think it was a silly mistake from Raikkonen. I don't think it was intentional. But he needs to be more careful in that situation in future.
He definitely does. So, as you mentioned, Glock went on to finish 7th after that contact. He had no wing for the last half of the lap, so well done to him for still getting points. James Slater in the points again, no penalties. He's consistent and enjoying this competitive tier. Bernardino in 9th position, struggled a little bit, I think, in the wet conditions, but still came home in points. And then myself came home in 10th position. So overall, very entertaining race. If you haven't watched it, you should go and watch, skim through it at least. It's just battles all the way through the field. And yeah, the tier is definitely so close, just like the precision. So best of luck to all the drivers taking part next week. I'm sure that Scott Fielder and Dark Bolt will be practicing for Silverstone. They won't want to compromise the championship, and I'm sure both of them, Alex, will want that Drivers' Championship trophy.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It comes down to, again, as I said before, it comes down to mindset and because they're so close. Skirtfield, again, Mr. Consistent. He reminds me of Julian last season. Julian would rarely get penalties, and he ended up winning the championship. Yes, he was also very quick. I'm not saying Skirtfield isn't, but again, Dartbolt on paper seems the faster of the two, but Dartbolt is more prone to making incidents for me, so it's going to be interesting whether Dartbolt can keep out those incidents. Then I think he's got it, but Skirtfielder as well. He's so consistent, you don't know where he's going to be on the grid.
Alrighty, on to the Prestige tier. Big talking point, obviously, out of the 4 Drivers' Championships that could have all been won, this was the only one to get wrapped up. Not winning the race, but having a good battle, again, with Jay and Louis got involved, and of course Rafa. Those 3 always putting on a brilliant race for us. Obviously, last time out in Germany, the 3 of them just went head-to-head all race long. They leave nothing on the table. But Louis came right from the back of the grid, 15th, to claim another win at One Hub, his first since his return, and he's up for Driver of the Day nomination. No surprise, brilliant result for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I commentated over a few of Louis' races, I believe, last season. It was always very quick. I remember China last season when he did the late pit stop for the safety car. He had a great race, and again, the win here is much deserved.
Yeah, definitely. And Blizzard coming home in second, obviously getting penalties, but doing what he had to do. There was that contact with Onyx early in the race, coming out of the slow speed corner, and Rafa just being the innocent party. So we'll talk about Rafa's race in a minute, but Blizzard, you have to say he's deserved it. He's been the quickest this season. I mean, everyone tipped him for the title before the season even got released, but you can't take anything away from the kid. He's been fantastic, and just the way he races, qualifies, everything, his strategy is just on point.
As you said, I'm lucky as well to have commentated over his races last season, and he was so up there with Julian as well. But he just carried himself with such class and brilliance on the circuit. He can make mistakes, yes, but he's got such good pace. I don't really think I've ever seen him be too dirty, to be honest. I think he had like a little bit of a feud with someone last season, if I remember correctly, where there was a moment. I think it might have been on the circuit somewhere, but I think this is well deserved. And again, this time the favourite does get the win. So congratulations to Blizzard. I've got a lot of respect for the guy, and hopefully maybe he can defend that next season.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be looking to, continue that form onto F1 2019. Speaking of form, Sam's had a difficult entry into the top prestige tier this season, but on the podium, his first podium in the prestige tier. So I bet I haven't spoken to him since, but I bet he was ecstatic on Friday night. So big well done to him from 8th on the grid as well, taking advantage, of some of those mistakes from, some of the top boys. Jay finishing in 4th. He's been up there all season, battling Blizzard for the lead. Do you think he can still take a high sense of achievement from his first season at One Hub?
Absolutely, anything you do in your first season, as long as you're not constantly DNFing, well, even if you are DNFing, but you're in the battles, that's what it's all about, isn't it? And I think you can take a lot of, especially considering it's the top tier as well, a lot of respect for the guy.
Alrighty, Lakitu finishing in 8th position. He was another German who did well a couple of races ago, wasn't it? But he just lost out to drive the day behind Rafa. But he's a great guy. He's been a great guy this season. Ollie finished 5th ahead of Amar, so Amar's first points after DNFing last week. Ollie in that top 5 again, just taking advantage of these guys who can't seem to keep all 4 wheels on their car.
Yeah, again, another consistent driver. He's fantastic. He's always there or thereabouts. Perhaps not the fastest, but he carries his car with such care that he gets these results.
Then obviously I mentioned Lakitu in 8th. Rafa DNF'd across the line, frustration. He's announced that he's quit league racing altogether. What do you make of that? Do you think it's just he put so much effort into this championship? But he should still hold his head high. The fact that he pushed Blizzard all the way, but Blizzard was just that little bit quicker and that little bit had the edge. But Rafa's got to take the positives from this season.
Yeah, Rafa's had a great season overall. He's been quick. He's had the drive, and it's good. I know it's not a happy emotion to be saying you're quitting league racing and you're doing that, but it's good that the people care when they come to these races as well. And it's good to see people like Rafa and Jamie who really push and they give it everything they got. And unfortunately for Rafa, it just wasn't enough. But it's good that he was putting that emotion in, putting that effort in, and if he does ever return to league racing, I think it will go his way.
Yeah, obviously that incident it's just wrong place, wrong time. He was just so unlucky to be collected and get wing damage. And I remember one of the I think it was the post race or pre race interview. One of the questions was about is the damage from is the wing damage in the game simulated properly compared to real life? And a lot of drivers saying it wasn't. So that little contact that he had, perhaps had the game be more simulated, he could have went on to recover, but as the commentators were saying during the race, Alex, 5th position wasn't enough to keep it alive, and so Blizzard takes the top tier title for season 13. So done the double.
Yeah, that's it's good as well. I think Blizzard, again, you look at the people that Red Bull have got. They've got experience in, Jamie, Gaza, Blizzard. I don't know how long he's actually been here. He's been racing for a little bit now. He's quick. You've got Odems who's here in Red Bull as well. You've got Scott Fielder, Malloy. They've got it all the way through. And I think Blizzard was the figurehead of that. Blizzard being part of the team, I think, was the big. These guys are going to be quick and they're going to be contenders, and they did exactly what they needed to do. They had expectations and they fulfilled those expectations.
They definitely did, and obviously we got 3 more championships to decide next week in the Podium Tier, the Pinnacle Tier, and the Precision Tier. I said that in the wrong order, but best of luck to all those drivers fighting for the championships. For the rest of the grid, make sure you just give them that little bit of extra room, as we'd hate to see a championship decided by some sort of incident. But best of luck to them. Alex, thank you for joining me. We of course are sponsored by Next Level Racing, so make sure you check them out. And there's a discount code you can use. You'll find that on our Twitter if you want to get any of their products. And of course, last race on F1 2018 back home. Alex, in Britain, you looking forward to it?
I'm hoping to finish. We'll talk about it afterwards. If I finish, I think there's gonna be an absolute party in the chat, especially from Sean. So, if I can finish a race, even if it's in like 16th, that's the plan. But I'm looking forward to it. Going to go out with a bang, hopefully.
Awesome stuff. Alrighty, thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and of course follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where there's lots going on throughout the week. So just a reminder, the Stewards office does close at midnight tonight, and you can expect the results from that on Tuesday, as well as the driver of the day winners on Tuesday. So if you want to vote, head over to Twitter, and you can vote for one of two drivers in each tier. Well done to Red Bull and well done to Blizzard once again for wrapping up their championships, and best of luck to everyone next week. We will see you next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.